Good morning.
You just attempted to knock up Gabriel, but I think you missed. Okay, you're gonna have to take this bird back.
Yeah.
I don't like this anymore. What? What do you mean?
I'm Hank Green.
I'm Michelle Khare, and this is Ask Hank Anything.
Hello, I'm Hank Green, and I think maybe you can learn more about people from the questions they ask than the answers they give. And so I'm doing a show. It's called Ask Hank Anything, and today we have with me Michelle Khare. Hello!
Hi! I'm so excited to be here. I had so many questions that I submitted.
You did.
And Hank is such a far better resource than any online search engine. So here I am.
I do more synthesis, I think. This is Puzzle the Pelican. Inside of Puzzle the Pelican's pouch is some of the questions that you asked me. And go ahead and pull out number one there.
Okay. How the hell did they train carrier pigeons?
Did is interesting that you put it in the past tense. Because in fact, it continues to be a thing where people still train carrier pigeons.
But now we have like technology to make the pigeon teaching easier.
But we also have cars and we still have horses. So we love it, and we love animals, we love our relationships with animals. And we have had a relationship with pigeons for a very long time. About 10,000 years ago, we semi-domesticated pigeons.
Okay.
Do you know why? Can you guess?
Because we liked them as pets. They're cute. They previously, because it was 10,000 years ago, used to have great singing voices. So they would sing to the princes.
They still have great singing voices. I love a pigeon noise.
Okay, a pigeon noise. Was it people were eating them?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no!
But also they were useful because where they poop, you gather that up and use it as fertilizer. So they were dual purpose. But then one thing we noticed, if you were feeding them in a place, if you took them away, then you let them go, they come back to their home. They like to go home. And to explain this
Because they're domesticated.
whole situation, well, this is actually the case anyway. If you like grab a pigeon from a cliff and you drive it 100 miles away and you let it go, it'll go back to its home cliff. Like it wants to be home.
Wait, how does it know?
Yeah.
How does it know where to go?
Well, I want to talk all about it.
Okay.
And this is the thing about homing pigeons. You think homing means like a homing missile that like finds and seeks out a target. But homing is just, originally, the word is just to go home.
Oh.
And so that's what homing pigeons do. And so you can't train a pigeon to go to a location, but you can train them to always come back. And I want to show you and have you talk to a person about this and meet their pigeon.
We're meeting a homing pigeon?
I know. This is the by far the coolest thing that we're doing on the show.
Oh my God! Let's go!
This is Tim.
Tim!
All right. Should we get one out yet?
Yeah, please bring me a pigeon.
Okay.
All right.
We've just found out that Michelle's a little freaked out by pigeons.
The way you were just full fisting.
A fistful of pigeon.
Yes.
They make that. I love pigeon noises so much. I think that we, because they're around all the time, don't appreciate pigeons for the remarkable birds that they are and all the many beautiful things that they do. Because mostly we're thinking about that they're about to poop on you, which is what I'm thinking. How often you get pooped on, Tim?
That's a great question. Well, not that often.
Oh.
Well, so outside of the cage.
More than me.
Yeah, more than you. Yes. I'll be honest. It's a daily occurrence.
Okay. Not that often, but every day.
But I'm in the cage.
Yeah.
And when you're holding them, like they eat in the morning. It's funny that we're talking about poop first because that is actually a big thing. I mean, people are afraid of that, right? So in the morning, they usually eat and they usually poop within a couple hours after that. Yeah. And so in the middle of the day, they're usually not pooping. Gotcha. So we should be safe.
Great, we should be safe.
Should be safe.
He, she, do we know?
We don't know.
Okay.
It's really hard to know if it's a male or a female,
yeah.
But you usually just put them in a cage and you see what happens. And if you have 2 eggs, then it's a female and a male probably. If you have 4 eggs, then it's 2 females.
Okay.
That's what? Yeah.
That's how you figure it out.
That's science today in 2020.
Well, I mean,
they don't have equipment like we do.
Well, you can do, so like people race them and sell them like a high, like one that has like really good genetics.
Yeah.
And so they'll do like DNA tests on them, but we don't do that.
We don't need that.
We just kind of guess and do our best.
And do you train the pigeons to do homing?
Yeah. So we train them. So this one right here, the funny story in this one, so we mainly have white pigeons.
You just don't have a name.
Let me get
There's
you.
Just this one.
So this one.
Tim, I might need to critique you for that.
That's okay.
We need to name the pigeons.
Well, should we name that one? That one's like the original color. See, this is also a pigeon.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
which is
beautiful.
interesting.
But we don't know gender, so
we don't. Did it do something?
No.
I thought it was crying.
This one is. I don't know if they cry. I mean,
can I do anything
go
to the pigeon? Oh, it's so
This is likely.
Oh, I'm sorry, you don't like
This
that?
is likely. Would you like to?
Okay.
Back of the hand.
It's very soft. Yeah,
Very
back
Back
easy.
of the hand.
Yeah.
I'm friendly.
And then start from the front.
It'll move a little bit, but not much.
so fast. Like it's
They're really fast.
He's just looking because he wants to know
But like,
where you're at.
look like it's facing that way, but it's looking this way.
Yeah, it wants to see everything.
Hi. Will it beak me?
No, probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably
Very
not.
unlikely. He's just looking at the room.
Okay, I'm going to the tail. The tail is
Yeah,
far
tail's
away
good.
from
Yeah,
the
we'll start
beak.
there.
Okay.
Start there. Nice job,
so
Michelle.
soft.
You're such a brave person around everything but pigeons.
And look at me. I'm petting the pigeon.
You're doing
I'm
great.
very brave.
See, the thing that's hard with white pigeons is they all look the same. So it's really hard to tell the difference.
Gotcha.
And a lot of guys that raise pigeons like raising them with a different coloration.
Right.
Because on quick notice, you can see which one it is and actually recognize them. Like I can recognize a
Because they're
pigeon.
going to have different abilities, different
Different personalities, everything, yeah. So I know certain birds from their personality, but it's hard to notice that. So like there might be a bird that always is in the top right corner. And I know that like when it comes home, like
That's that little house.
yeah. And like if there's someone else in the house, it's super aggressive maybe and like
Right.
pushes that one out. And that's its personality.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's really hard to tell them the difference. What he's doing right now, he's just looking all over the place. He's memorizing things,
Yeah. This is a new place.
being aware of everything. He's looking up, seeing if there's any danger.
So
Very curious.
let me ask this. If we open this window, would he return home?
Within about 15, 20 minutes. They'd beat us home in car. It'd fly faster than the car and get home.
They're fast too.
Yeah, 60 to 70 miles an hour, and a tailwind can go faster.
Please explain how.
Okay, so
How do
we're
pigeons
avoiding,
work?
We're avoiding this question, I see. Okay, so
That is the original question.
usually where they're born is helpful because they get a sense for that place. You can relocate them at like 5 weeks old, but once you get into 2 months old, they're gonna start locking onto the place they're in. So they start getting a sense for where the home is, and around like 6 or 7 weeks old, they start getting a sense for the actual nest box. So when they're really young, they'll share a nest box. But once they get to like 7, 8 weeks old, they'll push another bird out of the nest box. They want to have their own nest box. And that time, in my mind, that's when they're ready to start homing because they have a sense of where their actual box is. And so after that, we just open the cage up to let them go out on their own when they're ready. But it's like kind of like a plaza that has a covering over it, so they can't get out to the free world yet. They just learn how to go kind of into like a central plaza where they get their baths and where they can hang out in the sun. And they learn how to go back in the system. There's like a one-way system where they can go into the cage but can't come back out again. So like at 6, 7 weeks old, we want them to learn that. So they're doing that slowly every day. They come back in for food. Usually you can use food. You don't have to, but usually use food to make them do what you want to do right away. And so they'll go back into the cage. And then once they're doing that really consistently, like if we haven't fed in the morning and we feed them in the afternoon, we put the food in, and they all go rush into the cage and know exactly what to do, then we know it's time to lift them out the top. And so then at that point...
That seems like a very risky moment.
scary.
Because they could not come home.
Yes, it's very scary.
Do they ever not?
It's like a momentous day. Like it's like,
Yeah.
all right, guys, we're letting them out for the first time today.
What percentage of returns do you get?
Well, so
Because it's a world out there with plenty of pigeon space.
yeah. It's not like any other pet you have,
Yeah.
Like any other pet you have is like in your environment, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like at that point, we're letting this bird be like a hybrid pet where it's
Right.
in the natural environment.
Yeah.
It can do whatever it wants, or it's in our environment. Like the way I see it is kind of like we build the best house possible for them.
Right.
But at that point, they can leave if they want to.
Mm.
And I don't know if they're leaving because they don't want to, or if it, who knows what it is. Why would they leave? So like, whether it's lost or it leaves, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But that first day
Or
is a
just get
scary
skipped
day.
by a falcon.
Yeah, that can happen too. And that's what you're hoping. You're hoping that there's no falcons that day.
Wait, this is like a
Oh,
metaphor
wow.
for having children.
It's very
It is.
children-y.
It
And,
is,
like,
yeah.
letting them.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
leave
And
hope
sometimes
they
there's a
come home.
falcon.
Yeah.
And
But you can't control it.
Yeah.
I've seen them be parents. They don't seem good at it.
Oh, they're very good.
Okay.
I'll explain why.
They-
Well, what have you seen? I don't know if you've
I
ever
just
seen.
seem that they seem to think, well, if this one doesn't work out, that's fine.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of that in nature, I think,
Yeah.
to some degree.
Yeah.
But yeah, birds in general are hard, yeah, because they have so many babies that there does seem to be that,
Yeah.
they're babies on the ground. They're like, well,
Yeah.
can't you get it back up to the nest? And not always can do that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but the pigeons, they have a ton of babies. Both the mother and the father both raise the babies. They both create like what's called like a milk that they feed the
Yeah,
babies.
crop milk.
Crop milk.
What?
Yeah.
Milk's evolved a bunch of different times in weird ways.
Yeah.
One of my
So-
favorite.
Yeah, it's
I want to
very-
make a book
Where-
called Milk.
I'm sorry. I did not know
Michelle's like,
birds
wait a
make
second.
milk.
Yeah, well, it's like the lining of, so they store all their food right here, and
the
inside
neck.
in the crop.
Crop.
It like fills up with food.
Huh.
Because in history, they would go out and find seed and bring it back. So it's like a little pouch to keep the seed in. And for I mean, I don't know if you guys have talked about that, but there's a source of food for many, many years, for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you basically build a dovecote and the birds would come to it and they'd feed themselves.
Do you have to do any special training? Do you like take it a certain distance away?
Yeah.
Like if you took this to Las Vegas, would it make it back?
Good question. We would have to go like part way the whole way. So like we
Okay.
go maybe like 50 miles, 100 miles, 150 miles, 200 miles.
And then
slowly
once you've gotten to 200 miles, you can do it over and over again?
Yeah.
Wow.
200 miles.
Yeah, you can go to 600 miles with like a really well-trained bird. Yeah.
That's a big range.
But that's not a thing that just happens. So they can home from a while away, but not that far. You have to do that work.
That's something that's a manual process. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they probably memorize on their own. You'd hope that they'd memorize on their own. You know, like certain birds might go further on their own, like 15, 20 miles on their own.
Right.
But some birds need to go slower than others.
What are these
We don't
pigeons
raise them.
for?
So these ones are mainly for weddings and funerals.
Gotcha. You release
white
them
ones.
and then they head on home.
Yeah, this is the only way to do it successfully.
Don't you have like black ones for funerals? Come on.
We do have some. We have
Oh,
a couple.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. Occasionally we get requests, but mainly it's just the white ones.
People on the white pigeons.
So you're
And not just the normal pigeons.
Yeah, not just the normal.
Nobody wants those?
No. Let's
Are
get,
they good at homing?
the normal ones, like let's get another one out here. So this is like a mix of the two. You'll see they have like some all white
this is like a
feathers.
Central Park pigeon.
Yeah, more so. Like this is a mix of different
But a
different
healthy one.
colorations, but a healthy one, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So like
got
this
a
one,
little
let's
bit-
see.
There's many colors.
So this is an interesting one. This was a stray that came into our loft.
Just decided to, hey, this looks like a nice bite.
Yeah. Yeah, pigeons are really good at finding other pigeons. So this one likely came back, because every day we're releasing like 20 birds at 6 or 7 cemeteries all over LA County.
Gotcha.
And they come back, and oftentimes they come back with birds. So
With
this one likely just followed our birds
Come back with birds.
Yeah.
But this-
you got a free bird.
Yeah, yeah. So
That's
this is a free bird that I
crazy.
haven't found the new owner of yet. I'm still trying to find
Is
the
that
owner.
what they were singing about in that song?
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah.
Wait, you're trying to find the owner.
Yeah, yeah.
So you think this is a domesticated pigeon?
Oh, this belongs to someone because
Oh, it's got a band.
there's bands on it.
And also you had the white feathers, so maybe that's a sign.
Yeah.
Do you ever get just random pigeons though?
Not as often.
It's usually homing
It's
pigeons.
almost
you know?
always one
Interesting.
that has a band on its leg already.
Okay.
When we release them at the site,
Yeah.
sometimes there'll be local pigeons that just live at that area that will join them. They usually like 1 or 2 turns.
And they're like, where are you guys going? That's not home.
Exactly. Whereas these ones are out searching for something. They're either searching for food.
Just like all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they
Wow.
just follow other ones, assuming that happiness will be there.
But this pigeon doesn't get hired ever.
This one's that.
This pigeon doesn't get hired.
This one doesn't get hired. That's right. That's right.
Because no
Because
one,
it's a pigeon-shaped pigeon?
Because of
Color?
the coloration, just no one requests that, But like if someone
When
says,
I
hey,
die, I want you to release normal pigeons at my funeral. I want it to be the normal, gray,
Market.
cool Central Park pigeons.
we'll do it.
All right. My wife's going to be
well,
so
only
mad.
if the funeral's only if the funeral's within 600 miles.
Yeah, I do have to get buried in LA now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
But my wife's going to be even more mad about that. I read that during, I think it was World War II, they would drop pigeons in cages with little parachutes with little surveys on them, and you'd like fill out like into occupied territory, and you'd fill out the survey if you were a resistance person, and you're like, here's what the Germans are doing, here's all the information you need, and then reattach it to the pigeon and let them go. I love the idea of a bird in a cage being dropped with a parachute.
It's ridiculous.
It's like,
And it like really worked. Like you got information about what was going on with the Germans.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing, if people don't think about the history these birds have had and how much they've been next to humans for thousands of years.
They are a long time semi-domesticated species.
Yes.
And it is wild that like this species that can be domesticated also can be living on a, like this bird could just as easily have been living on a cliffside in the wild.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. These ones are amazing. The amount of lives they've saved in wars.
Yeah.
Then, just.
And also by being food.
Yeah. So, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Michelle, can you try and pet this one?
Yes, I will pet the pigeon.
This one's a little more
sort of like,
This one's
Yeah.
not as. Wait, you want me to hold it?
no.
No. That's too much for me.
Can I hold it?
Yeah, he can hold it.
Oh, wait, it's really soft. Hi, pigeon. Wait, we need to name this one.
Oh yeah. So it has like multiple colors.
Is it Michelle?
Some white ones.
This one's Michelle.
This is Michelle. Aw.
Can I hold this pigeon and feel what it would be like?
No
The
matter
biggest
the
thing is just
gender.
holding the shoulders down.
Yeah.
And you want to create like kind of like a solid cage because it's going to try to get free.
Yeah, I think he's less comfortable with
If
me.
it thinks it can get free, it'll try.
Yeah.
So you like don't want to hold him tightly, but you want to hold him so that like it's just like a solid cage around him.
That's not a weak bird.
No,
There's some strength there.
This is a strong one.
Okay, you're gonna have to take this bird back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're strong.
Yeah.
They're very strong.
Tim, thank you so much.
You're welcome, guys.
This
Thank you,
is so
Tim.
cool.
Yeah.
I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you coming out.
Much.
Yep. Very
Yeah.
good.
Do you have another question?
I have so many questions. Okay, let's see what's next. So I hear soap destroys bacteria cells. But how does the soap know what's bacteria cell versus what's Michelle human cell?
So I have you're wrong in two different ways.
Great. Off to a great start. What?
But we are all the time.
Wait, I'm
So-
already wrong, but I asked a question.
Yeah,
The
well, it
question's
was a
wrong?
bad one. No. No.
Okay.
So what if I told you soap doesn't kill bacteria? And second, what if I told you that the soap never touches your cells?
I don't like this anymore. What? What do you mean?
So what soap is basically a molecule that is half good at being dissolved in water and half good at being dissolved in oil. And so if you just wash your hands with water, you're only washing away the stuff that's easily dissolved by water. And that leaves all the stuff that's easily dissolved by oils. So just like you've seen oil and water don't mix, if you have like butter or chicken fat on your
Okay.
hands and you wash your hands with just water, like it doesn't come off. So you need soap to do that because the soap lets the water get into the oils. And bacteria have oily membranes, like cell walls, and you have to get them off. And if you're just using water, you're not gonna break them up as easily. Or also all the other dirt and grime and oils and stuff on your hands. And so what you are doing when you wash your hands is not killing bacteria, you are washing them away. But we know for sure, because we've actually done a lot of research on this, that is actually like just as effective as if there was an antibacterial substance in the soap, which we used to have. You used to see antibacterial soap. And that was because it had an additive in it that was specifically designed to kill bacteria. And we realized that that was doing us no good and maybe was doing us a little bit of harm. So just because like that chemical might not be great for you to have a lot of, and also because it might breed resistance to that chemical. If we're constantly exposing bacteria to it, the ones left over are gonna be immune to it. So we stopped doing that, and now we just use soap that doesn't have antibacterial stuff, and it is just as good.
Okay, but the part that I'm scared of is the part where you
Oh.
say it doesn't touch your cells.
Yeah, because you're not covered in your cells. I think everyone thinks, I don't know, people might be mad at me about this, but you're not covered in skin cells. You are covered in the stuff that's left over after your skin cells make skin. So the very top layer of your skin cells is just keratin, and not just keratin, but it's mostly keratin, which is just the same stuff as your fingernails and the same stuff as your hair. And we don't think that our fingernails are cells. We don't think that our hair are cells, but our hair is cells. Like if the top of your skin is cells, then your hair is cells too, because hair is just.
But wouldn't that be soap touching the cells?
No, it's soap touching the leavings of cells. So what skin, the top layer of skin is the cells fill up with keratin, and then they get to the top layer, and in the process, they eject their organelles. They don't have a nucleus anymore. Their membrane goes away, and they just stick together as a structure. So it's not a bunch of cells, it's a structure that is formed from the leavings of cells. The mechanism of hand sanitizer is actually totally different from soap. It actually does destroy bacteria cells, but your skin is so durable and it's not a bunch of living cells that it doesn't destroy them. But if you get hand sanitizer in a cut, that's gonna hurt a lot because it is destroying your cells.
Oh, so when people say, oh, it's cleaning them, it's actually destroying them. It's bad.
It's what's bad?
Putting hand sanitizer on cuts.
And a cut? Yeah, don't do that.
I haven't done that. I'm serious. Like that sounded sarcastic, but I haven't done that.
No, I don't think that that's a good idea. I haven't actually looked into that directly, but I'm pretty sure that's a bad idea.
Okay.
Hank from the future maybe will tell us about that. So as we were just discussing, most things that will kill bacteria will also damage your cells. And that goes double for hand sanitizer, which is mostly alcohol. That's the biggest active ingredient. Alcohol kills cells by dissolving their membranes and messing up their proteins. It's like a brute force attack. So this is actually why we don't have to worry about bacteria evolving resistance to hand sanitizer, because alcohol kills bacteria so brutally, it's basically impossible to evolve resistance to. But because it is so intense, a large concentration of alcohol, like 60 to 70%, like there is in hand sanitizer, will do the exact same thing to the human body cells that are exposed in a wound. And when you've already got a wound, damaging your cells even more is going to create unnecessary pain, unnecessary inflammation, and could actually slow down healing. There are some gentler antimicrobials like dilute hydrogen peroxide, which is the stuff that just comes in the brown bottle, or iodine, and that can be used sparingly, but shouldn't be used a ton. Turns out soap and water is probably the best way to clean a cut because, like we said at the beginning, it doesn't actually destroy cells, it washes them away. And that means that your cells that are healthy and intact will stay there and not get damaged, while anything not connected to you, like dirt or bacteria, will get washed away. All right, back to the conversation. Interestingly, a lot of the stuff in hand sanitizer is just ethanol, which is the same stuff as like vodka. Yeah. Are you worried? You look worried. I worried you. I thought you were going to be more worried about the fact that you weren't actually killing the bacteria, but you do wash them all away.
As long as they're away, that's cool, right?
But you're worried about the fact that you're not covered in cells.
Yeah, that's a new one.
That you've got, it's like a structure that you're contained inside of?
Yeah. I
guess now
thought
that I
I
say
was
it like
made of
that,
cells.
it is a little bit upsetting. It's made by cells. And it is what's left over after, like all of the stuff on your skin was once inside of a cell.
All of this is just shattering my reality.
Okay. All right, let's just keep going then.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, wait, this is one I'm very excited about.
Okay.
Now, while we're in the spirit of like time before technology, i.e. pigeons, how did people wake up or show up on time to things before alarm clocks?
Yeah.
Was it really a rooster going cock-a-doodle-doo?
Well, certainly that was part of it. So like for a long time, we were just sort of going by the natural cycle. Like the sun would come up, it would be bright, we'd wake up. Though, of course, you'd also have to have people who were in places where the sun might not come up until quite late, or would come up very early because there were higher latitudes or lower latitudes. But you just have like cultural cycles that you're going by, and also our bodies have a really natural rhythm that we tend to like mess with a lot as modern humans. Like we'll sleep in on the weekends and we'll wake up early one day and we'll hate it, then we'll have insomnia, we'll drink a bunch of caffeine, and then we'll go to Europe, you know? Like we mess with our biological clocks like crazy in a way that did not happen. Like people were not traveling very far and messing that stuff up. And also, they might not have even had caffeine for a lot of that time, though a lot of them did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or glasses. Do you ever think about that?
I do think about that all the time.
All the time.
I'm so blind. It would have been a real mess out there for me.
Wait, detour, were people just blind everywhere before glasses?
I didn't do research on this, but I think that people are more, like significantly more nearsighted now than we used to be.
Because of technology?
Because of environmental factors like lifestyle stuff, and I don't know exactly what it is. So then there was a time after clocks. So when you're like in a small community.
A time after clocks.
So there was a time before clocks.
Yes.
And then like everybody's just sort of like figuring it out on their own. And then there's a time after clocks, but before alarm clocks. And that's a very interesting period. So we've got clocks and everybody's like, I'd like you to be at work at 4:30 in the morning or something. How are you gonna make that happen? Well, first, everybody in a community shared an alarm clock because that big bell in the church tower had a purpose, which was to go off every hour and sometimes every half hour to let you know roughly what time it was. So if you have to be somewhere at like 11:30 in the afternoon, there's going to be a bell that goes off at 11:30 in the afternoon. If you have to be there at 11:45, it's going to go off at 11:30, and then you're going to be like, oh, about now. Wait around for about 50 minutes and then go. And so that clock tower was like a big deal, and that's why they spent all that money on those big bells, which I didn't really realize until you asked this question. But there were also town criers who would just shout the time every once in a while, which I love. But then my favorite thing I found out while researching this was that this was an important part of this process. Can you guess why?
What are we? Well, first of all, what is this?
If you can
is this
hold
a
it.
Flute?
Yeah.
Is this something you spit through?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you got it very quickly.
They would throw spitballs at everyone that needed to wake up.
Yeah, basically.
Wait, seriously?
There was a profession of people, they were called knocker-uppers.
That sounds
It's real, but that's real.
crazy.
That's what they were actually called.
Knocker-uppers?
For like over 100 years, up until like the last knocker-uppers stopped working in the 1970s.
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
Uh-huh. But in the from the like late 1700s to the 1970s, there were for a long time there was a lot of these people. And what you would do is you would pay them to wake you up at a certain time. They would walk around and they would either tap on your window with a stick or they'd shoot a pea at you. They'd shoot a peas at your window and you wake up and then you'd be like, thank you. And sometimes they'd wait for you to like wave and say, you did it, you're correct. And sometimes they'd just shoot you and run away.
Shoot you?
No, shoot your window. So you want to shoot a pea with me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Who are we waking up?
Let's try to wake up Gabriel.
Oh boy.
Okay.
So you put it in the end you're gonna spit from.
The end I'm going to spit from.
Yeah, and then so just like hold it with your thumb so that it's like there, and then put your mouth on it. Oh, I almost got Callie.
Oh, I lost my pee.
You did.
Hold on.
I practiced a few times. So you really want to take a deep, deep breath and then blow all at once.
Okay. Good morning.
Gabriel is somehow unscathed. This was not an easy job necessarily.
Oh, that was nice.
I hit the chair. You got saved like a man with a Bible in his pocket in a war.
Wow. Knocker-upper.
Knocker-upper.
So did I just knocker-upper?
You just attempted to knock up Gabriel, but I think you missed. Did she get you?
I'll know in a few months.
Knocker-upper?
Knocker-upper is a real thing. Lots of people had this job. Oftentimes it would be pregnant women who were trying to make a little bit of money before being out of the workforce for a while. Also, police officers did it as like an addition to their normal jobs. So they'd be doing like their rounds and then they'd add some knocker-upper jobs along the path of like where they walked around.
Is this
because they'd
how
be there anyway.
the term knocked up? Because you're telling me a lot of pregnant women did this.
Oh, I have.
Is this
you know,
related?
that is absolutely the kind of thing I should have looked up.
That's cool.
Here's future Hank with information on that. So I spent some time diving down this rabbit hole, and like with many things, when it comes to the etymology of the crude or the taboo, it's cloudy, but it seems like the term knock up, as in to make pregnant, probably comes just from an original slang term for sex, which was to knock. Brothels of the 1800s were sometimes called knocking shops. Maybe related, maybe not. We have knocking boots today, but knock used to be just a slang term for sex. And while it is true that that slang term overlapped with the practice of knocker-uppers, it seems like it wasn't related. And knocker-uppers were just people who woke you up by knocking, so they would knock you up. So I think it's safe to say that there's no direct link from one to the other, but the fact that we already had knock up, as in to wake up by knocking, as a phrase in our brains for a long time, that might have ended up transferring over to this new slang term to get someone pregnant. But that's entirely speculation. All right, back to Hank. Before we do our last question, Michelle, what are you up to these days? You are always up to so much.
What am I up to these days? We're just making the next season of Challenge Accepted, which I'm super, super excited about, which you can watch at youtube.com/Michelle Khare.
Yeah, I don't know how you do all the stuff that you do, but
Literally,
people always say that about me, yeah. All right, what does Puzzle the Pelican have for our last question?
Let's see. Oh,
Yes.
I'm very excited about this one.
I agree.
What do you, Hank Green,
Oh, yeah.
think is the coolest fact?
I have, as you might imagine, a sort of I have a relationship with facts that I think might be different from normal people. I have like favorite facts. Like I have a favorite song. Like it's never the same one for very long. So they come in and out, and there's like different reasons why I love different facts. But I actually brought a present for you. You got 3 props. You got a bird, you got a pea shooter, and then right there, why don't you grab that rock for me?
What?
And tell me what you think that is.
Whoa! This is so cool.
Yes.
You're asking what I think it is?
Yeah.
Like material?
Yeah. I don't know. What do you like? You don't have to. If that's all you got, that's fine. I can tell you what it is.
Rock.
It's rock.
It rock.
Yeah, it
Yay.
definitely is rock.
Okay, yay, yay. And they're like, it's actually a horse hoof or something crazy. I don't know.
It is a fossilized coral.
Whoa!
So in your hand is about a 400 million year old piece of coral. This was back when Pangea existed. This is from Michigan. And back then, Michigan was like an inland sea when there was a supercontinent. And there were a bunch of corals. And I wanted, there's a very strange thing. So if you look here at the base of this coral, you see these bands?
Yes.
Those are like tree rings.
Okay.
Where they actually mark time. And this is not the specific coral that this happened with, but there were scientists, and they would look at these bands, and they'd notice that in addition to there being bands that you could see that were like big, thick, visible bands, there were also much smaller ones. And the big bands were being made by the smaller bands, sometimes being farther away and sometimes being closer together. If you counted those little bands, between the close together and the next close together portion, there were 365-ish of them. So they were day bands. So in the way that trees have year bands, corals sometimes have day bands. And if you cut the coral correctly and you have a magnifying glass or a microscope that's good enough, you can count the number of days in a coral. And they did this for corals that are growing today. And then somebody, his name was John W. Wells, and he thought, what if I do that with fossilized coral? Let's try that out. And he did it, and no matter what he did, when he looked at this old coral, there was always too many day bands. We would look at it and be like, there's 400, there's 415. The older the coral is, the more of them there are. There's 425, there's 450. And this is how we finally confirmed and figured out for real that the Earth used to spin faster.
I can't, wait, what?
Because
that
John
is
W. Wells...
not how I thought you were going to end that sentence. This rock is how we found out the Earth spins faster at some
This
point.
literally, rocks like this one can tell you that the Earth used to spin faster. And because, and I don't know why John W. Wells was counting fossilized day bands on coral, but he was doing it because that's what nerds do, you know?
Right.
And he was doing it. And there was some idea before this that there were theories that maybe this was the case. And then he reached out to some other people, and there are other things that have day bands in the fossil record. And they also did this, and they compared roughly the same ages of fossils, and they saw that all of them had roughly the same number of day bands, confirming that indeed the Earth used to spin faster and days used to be shorter, so there were more of them per year. Isn't that awesome?
That is terrifying.
Okay.
But also exciting.
So we're still slowing down too.
I'm glad to hear that one.
Are you?
I like slowing down.
You're like, I could use another couple of nanoseconds.
Right.
This year.
You know how they say Beyonce has the same 24 hours in the day?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I would like to have 25. That would be cool.
Next year, we're going to have more time than Beyonce had back in the 90s.
And then what's your excuse?
Beyonce actually had less time than you during her most prolific eras.
Wow. So how much faster are we talking? In current 2025, my perception of a 24-hour day, using that perception of 24-hour day, how much faster did the Earth spin?
So you'd actually have a, I'm sorry, I don't know why I just told you all that, but you have a shorter day. You just have more of them per year. So there'd be actually the same amount of time per year.
So going around the sun is the same.
The same, but you're spinning faster.
But how long is the day?
It would be, I don't know, but it's gone down. And it used to be 8 hours, at the beginning of the solar system.
8-hour day?
Yeah, it used to spin super fast. But the moon has been tugging on us and slowing us down. So when the tides do the tide thing, that creates friction. And as they slosh around in our oceans, they drag on the Earth a little bit. And that slows us down. And also, weirdly, through physics reasons, pushes the moon further away. So the moon's getting further away.
The moon's getting further away, the day is getting longer, and the oceans are a part of that somehow. Okay, cool. Yeah. Cool, love it. Yeah. Love it. When Thanos is reality can be whatever I want it to be, and then all the planes of the universe shatter. That is kind of what happened to me today here in this room. So I'm going to sit with this for several hours.
It all feels so steady, It all feels it's like earthquakes, where everything feels the Earth just feels like the most solid thing in the world until it's not, until it's doing a freaking dance. And you're like, that's not okay. And in the same way, 24 hours in a day seems like it must have always been that way. But then John W. Wells counts some coral bands and is like, hold on.
Wow.
The things that we think are forever and immutable, in fact, have been changing this whole time.
C'est la vie. With Hank Green.
And someday we're all going to die.
Yeah. But not as soon, maybe, because Earth goes slower next year.
Look, we're gonna make it longer than the pigeons.
Okay.
We're not gonna get hit by a falcon on our way home today. Yeah, there's that at least.
Oh my gosh.
I really loved your questions. They ranged all over it just shows like a sort of like a big, broad, general curiosity about the world. Oh, like there was some that were like very about, like there's some that are something that's about you. You know, it's like, I'm washing my hands, I want to know what's happening. And there's some that are just like, how the heck did that work? Would you like a rock?
I will take rock, and
Okay.
I will remember. Day gets longer.
You look
next
at
year.
it. You look at it and be like, ah.
And you know what?
It's the scariest
I'm gonna
rock in my
I'm gonna
house.
look at this and think, I've got more time than I think I do.
Yeah. That's nice. Everybody, this is Michelle. You can find her so easily on YouTube. She's always up to something wild and amazing. And I loved learning about Michelle through her questions. I'd love to learn about you through your questions. If you leave some in the comments and upvote the ones that you think are the best questions, I'll come by and answer some of those in the next week or so. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you can. There's a button somewhere nearby. I promise. You can get the notifications as well, because we come back every month with another amazing guest. And who knows who's gonna be next? I don't even know. Thank you so much to Michelle Khare for coming out and asking questions of me, and thank you to everybody who helped make this episode. If you've been watching or listening and you have some questions, you can leave them in the comments. If you see questions that you like, you can upvote those. I'll answer a few of them in the next few days. Also, if you want to see more of what we're up to, you can join the Complexly newsletter by visiting complexly.com.